Hi there, hope you're all fine. Welcome back to this channel. Before I dive into today's content, I must say I'm really glad for the feedback I received in one of my previous videos. I'd like to say thank you so much for all the support, interaction, and love you guys could show me in the comments. I highly appreciate it. Thanks, you guys are amazing. And I ended up receiving some messages and requests from you to do videos on specific topics. And today I'm gonna be covering one of them. How to improve your writing skills in English. But first, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done it already, please. It will help me to keep growing here on YouTube. Well, writing has to do with many things. Maybe you must be willing to write an essay for applying some college or for getting a good score in some English proficiency test. Maybe you just want to be able to interact with other people around the world on social medias in a way that you will be able of expressing yourself in another language and people will get what you're saying. I don't know. The thing is, you want to be able to write in English, and this probably means communicating ideas through a good spelling, accuracy, and so on. Writing begins with translating ideas into language, so the reader can follow a train of thought. Next comes the process of revising to find the most precise and convincing wording that renders ideas clearly and concisely. Finally, you need to make sure there are no grammar, spelling, or formatting mistakes which will distract the reader from what you're saying. But before you start writing, you gotta understand English. But how's that? What do I mean? Well, it's well known that every single language has unique patterns and systems. So, how you will understand your target language, which in this case is English. The English language is sometimes regarded as one of the most difficult to master because of its unpredictable spelling and challenging grammar. It is challenging for both learners and native speakers, but just because it is challenging, it doesn't mean it is impossible to learn. When it comes to sentence order, for instance, there are several confusing rules to understand. Native speakers have an intuitive knowledge of how to order those words because they sound right. But what about us, the ones trying to master English? The order in which adjectives have to be put in front of a noun is what native speakers know, but probably don't know English learners know. Mark Forsyth, in his book, The Elements of Eloquence, How to Turn the Perfect English Phrase, says that adjectives absolutely have to be in this order: opinion, size, age, shape, color, orange, material, purpose, and finally, the noun. So you can say a lovely little old rectangular green French silver whittling knife. But mixing up this phrase, as Forsyth writes, feels inexplicably wrong. So you cannot say a rectangular silver French old little lovely whittling green knife, though nobody can say why. So as we already know, the English language has many patterns. In the book Rhetorical Grammar, Martha Cohn describes 7 common sentence patterns, and she says that 95% of sentences in English fit into basic patterns. So basically, understanding and mastering common patterns will not only help you do better on grammar tests, but also it helps you to improve your writing skills. For example, English uses a subject-verb-object sentence pattern, but this is only the beginning. There are other patterns like the preposition plus noun pattern. The noun can take an article as well, and or an adjective, and you can have a range of other combinations in specific orders. Another challenging thing might be the huge mismatch between English spelling and pronunciation. The 18th century poem Chaos gives us an example considering this. Just compare heart, beard, and heart, dies and diet, lord and word. Although most of those words have basically the same spelling at the end of the word, they sound completely different. This might be really tricky, right? You not only need to learn rules and patterns, but actually you need to get used to all complexities and exceptions to the rules. It can be a nightmare for people who are trying to learn the language, I know. Rules don't always work, especially when using established knowledge to apply the same rule to a new word. It is something you won't learn overnight. So if you really want to understand how English works and acquire patterns and so on, you gotta spend time with English and go through a process of immersion. That leads us to input ways, and reading is one of them. Unfortunately, the more often you read, the easier it will be to access the English you are looking for and express yourself accurately and fluently. Researchers know that if you are a strong reader and if you are a strong writer in your first language, chances are you will also be a strong writer in English too. After all, books are made out of books. You can read essays following examples from TOEFL and IELTS models. You'll find different topics to explore, to think about, and write about in English. So we have the opportunity to take notes and actually see how you can express your ideas and opinions through your writing skills. Not to mention that you can actually be aware of spelling mistakes too. And by reading those small texts, you can start building your understanding of the formal sentence patterns. You get more and more familiar with writing in English by reading and also by trying to write by yourself, actively practicing. You will notice that one of the most important things is the way you connect your ideas. You can basically do this through linking words. You can use it to express conditions, contrast of ideas, to give your opinion, to conclude, and so on. When it comes to languages, it is also important to consider your purpose and audience. In short, the writing style. Are you writing only to a friend, or are you writing in academic research? Well, if you want to improve your writing skills in English, you gotta actually practice your writing skills, and obviously, you do this by writing. Choosing the right resources is the most important step. But to do this, you need to consider what exactly you need help with. Is it some basic grammar and spelling, or more of an in-depth course and an introduction to English writing in general? You can actually use social medias to both read, write, and also engage in real-life communication with people. Instead of just scrolling unintentionally and mindless, consider using your social medias to practice your writing skills and reading skills in English. You can follow people from some English-spoken countries, read the captions in their feed, interact with their stories and content. You can also use Twitter for the same purpose. Twitter is a social media website that focuses on having conversations and sharing only very short messages with other people. You can use Twitter to meet and talk to new people, keep in touch with friends, and so much more. And finally, let's see some resources. So let's take a look at some useful online resources for improving your writing. If you want to start writing in English like a pro, then you should definitely consider some of these options. Thocko is one of the top best educational websites in which you can find a variety of topics to read and know about. You can find a range of articles about many topics in the different possible fields. It's a great resource to acquire and boost vocab. You'll find articles about science and math, humanities, religion, and so on. You can find tons of articles about language and resources to help you with your needs in your learning progress as well. Quora is a social question and answer website, a place where users might provide informative and well-written answers. So if you think the previous website is just for reading, on Quora you can both read and write. So basically you just need to sign up, and once you do it, you'll be presented with a screen that asks you to choose 10 topics that you might be interested in. Also, you have your feed, and in your feed has a lot more to offer than just the topics you follow. It's also a great place to discover other people on Quora. Hi Native is an engaging community of language students looking for answers about their target languages. Although the free version of the app does not provide enough features, it's still possible learning a lot from this resource. It's basically a Q&A app between language learners and native speakers, where you can ask to have your pronunciation or sentences checked. Unlike other language exchange apps that you might have encountered, Hi Native is only made for quick translations, assistance with language basics, and cultural questions. Generally, nothing too lengthy or demanding. You don't also have to worry about languages because the app currently supports 113 languages, so you are very likely to find the language you need on this app. Medium is a source of articles from a big variety of writers from around the world. It's kind of like the YouTube of writing. So you can read there, you can also share your articles and stories with a huge audience and even get paid for it. This platform is one of the only places on the internet where writers and bloggers can post their content and still get paid straight away. You can follow your favorite bloggers and writers on this platform, read and share their contents and texts, and start writing by yourself, posting your stories, perspectives, and so on. Grammarly is a free website and app that fixes your writing. You have the option of typing directly into the platform or copying large blocks of text, such as an essay, for correction. There is also an extension that works with a number of platforms, such as WordPress, Facebook, and many other online writing websites. The corrections are always offered as suggestions instead of auto-correction, so you have a chance to review your mistakes before changing them. The free version of Grammarly includes basic writing suggestions designed to help you produce clean, mistake-free writing. You might find helpful having a grammar, spelling, and punctuation checker, as well as a tone detector. Well, I also had a few more resources recommendations, but this video is getting too long, so if you have any other resources you use for writing and maybe reading in English, I'd love to see recommendations from you in the comments down below. And that was it. This was not a sponsored video, so if you liked this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe and share with someone. Thanks for watching. See ya!